in Oakland, California on a Changemaker trip with our partner Build On, and Tara Wilson all the way from Canada. Joined us recently in July on a Changemaker trip in Ontario to the We Take Action camp. So let's learn a little bit more about what a Changemaker trip is. Marissa, can you just talk to us generally about what the experience is and what it was like for you?
Oh gosh, great question. So honestly, it was life-changing. Is what pops into my mind right away. We were in the schools and the communities with the children, and we went to school with them, we ate lunch with them, but then we also served with them. So our day of service was at a veterans home for men, and it was incredible. It was so incredible to be with the kids, but it was just as incredible serving with them and the veterans. So it was amazing.
And Mary, what kind of service did you do on your 36-hour immersion trip?
Well, we went to a food kitchen and we made lunches. We made bagged lunches with donated items, and we also made little hygiene kits for people. And it was actually pouring rain down there. I'm from Seattle.
Of course it was.
Okay, yes. And we went to the parks and places where people were living in tents. And these kids were not intimidated. They were just amazing, handing out, knocking on the doors of the tents where the people are huddled in there in the rain, and handing out the hygiene kits of the people.
Wow, that's impressive. That was impressive that they were able to lead you in that exercise and in the pouring rain as well, and undetoured, I imagine.
Totally.
And Tara, tell us a little bit about your Changemaker trip and the experience that you had.
Okay, so for our Changemaker trip, we actually got to go to a week camp. So this is a place where you see a lot of kids who have made differences in their communities by starting up different things like bake sales to raise awareness for things, bottle drives, that kind of thing. But at this camp, we also got to talk to them, hear their stories a little bit about the changes that they wanted to make. And then we went to the Global We headquarters on Queen Street in Toronto, and we got to put together little care packages for expectant moms who are teenagers, and give them little messages of kind of inspiration and hope and just something to try and keep their day a little bit. It was great.
Yeah, thanks, Tara. I actually had the pleasure of serving with Tara in Canada, and I have to say that we went to this center for teenage mothers, and they were no longer welcome in their homes, given their circumstances, and we were putting together these hygiene packets, which was wonderful, and giving those to the center. But we also were able to learn a lot about the issue of teenage pregnancy and young mothers, young single mothers in Canada. And that was quite eye-opening for me. Part of our Changemaker trips are allowing you to not only serve alongside the young people in their communities, but to start to understand the challenges that they face on a day-to-day basis and how they're working to overcome some of those challenges. So, Marissa, just if you could highlight a little bit what you kind of learned about the community where you were serving, and how that kind of motivated you perhaps in your own daily life.
Absolutely. I think the most incredible thing was the service that these kids are doing is keeping them out of violence. So the community that we were in the neighborhood is very violent. For instance, my buddy, we walked the route where she goes to school from her home, and she pointed multiple locations where she had witnessed people being murdered. And she said, if I wasn't doing so much with Build On and really spending all of her free time volunteering and serving, she would be on the streets and in that violence. And that was really eye-opening.
Really eye-opening.
Yeah.
And have you been able to take some of that kind of profound impact and translate it back into your daily life, or anything that you do to motivate your team? I know you have a big team of R+F consultants.
Yeah, so we are all about giving back, like everybody at Worthy in the Field. So we often do group events where in our community we go serve at something similar like a food station. And to be honest with you, we really took give it back to all the kids, right? Because there's so many parents on our team. I have 3 girls, and really worked with our kids on A, how fortunate they are, and B, how they can make a difference. And so, for instance, the day I flew out for convention, I did 3 trips to the food bank because my new middle schooler met a girl on day 2 who's homeless. And so we started a food pantry at the middle school, all while trying to get dresses and shoes and all that stuff. But, you know, it never leaves you to experience something like a change maker trip.
That's an amazing story. Actually, I got some goosebumps. I really love how you're able to make that connection, and what a gift to be able to engage your own children at such a young age in service. And I don't know if any of you in the audience were here for some of our panel of young people, but even at a young, tender age of 18 and 19 that they're engaging young people and teaching them about the value of service. So that's wonderful. How about you, Mary? What's something that you learned in the community when you were serving in Oakland with the young people that really touched you, and something that you've been able to take back to where you are in Seattle?
So what I learned, I think, was that they don't want people to just help them. They feel worth and value by realizing how important they are in the world when they're able to help other people. And I think that was the biggest thing. You know, I think that they in turn feel a responsibility to give back. And one of the places that the kids give back in Oakland is the elementary school that these high school kids went to, and they know where these kids are, and they volunteer in after school programs to kind of show the kids, hey, we're really determined.
Yeah. What a gift to be able to pay it forward like that at such a young age, and for those young people to have mentors that look like them, that understand where they're coming from. It's wonderful. So, Tara, I know you are inspired and you've taken many things back, but I want to ask you another question, because there are steps, prerequisites that one has to take in order to be selected, to apply for and then be selected for a Changemaker trip. And I'm hoping you can tell us a little bit about some of those prerequisites, because we're getting a ton of questions from consultants here at convention. How can I be a change maker? Tell us.
Sure. So really, it's just about getting involved in your community. Anything that you want to do will build your, I guess, resume in volunteer work. So it's about, having bake sales. It's about going down to food kitchens. It's about, stocking shelves at the food bank. It's about toy drives. You can start however you want to do it. You can rally your team around doing anything, and what you want to do while you're doing that is team building, of course, service, of course, but in order to get the application requisites in, what you want to do is you want to track that time, and you want to say, okay, this is how much time I've spent doing X, Y, Z, and you want to kind of keep a log of that information. So the rest of it was actually pretty easy, because the application process, you just fill it out. So really it's just about, here's what I did, here's when, here's what I learned from it, here's who was involved, and you just want to make sure that you're really capturing that information. So you're applying for your Changemaker trip, and ideally getting to go on that trip, because it's amazing. It really, I think, takes that volunteering to another level.
So one of the things that we've done to support all of the consultants in getting to the Changemaker trip, if that is something that is interesting to them, is to develop a digital do-good guide. It's available for download over here in the lounge, and I want to go ahead and play a short video that talks about what's in the Do Good Guide, and I would ask everybody in the audience to really share that with consultants that are having questions, that are interested in getting engaged, but maybe aren't really sure how. So if we could go ahead and play that video, that would be great.
Organization. I'm very proud to partner in all that you do, and I want to say thank you, because this incredible community has transformed tens of thousands of lives. Working with the We organization and the foundation, we've launched something called the Do Good Guide. This guide allows you to have the ability to truly transform even that many more lives of young people who are in need. The Do Good Guide's available for download, and it gives you opportunities to get engaged with young people to help them make the world a better place and fill out proper causes. It gives you opportunities to truly make that reality and to celebrate and track that engagement. And by doing so, this community can impact even more young people and transform their own lives in the process. So check out the Pulse Library where you can download the guide. Get involved, get engaged. You're already doing so much, but do even that much more and transform the lives of that many more young people who need our help. Welcome once again. Thank you for making the world a better place. And thank you, most importantly, for being a change.
So download the guide, invite your teens to do the same thing. And I know you have not seen it, Marissa, so I'm sorry to put you on the spot, but I know you're up for the task. What is it about a guide like this that you think would be useful for people as they're trying to get on their service journey?
I love it. Well, it's like the business. We always say, where do I start? And it feels overwhelming. And often you think you have to make big leaps, right? And do all this big stuff. But with the guide, it just shows you how simple it is. A couple simple tasks. And personally, I think the little things are what really add up and make a difference.
And what were some of the things that you were doing before Changemakers that you were able to talk about and put into your application that you think made it so compelling that you were selected? Because you know what? We had last year roughly 300 applicants for 50 spots. And that's 50 spots in our 3 markets of operation. So what is it that you were doing that you were able to talk about in your application?
Well, first of all, I want to say that when I was filling out my application at midnight on the last day, it's true. But I was questioning if I had done enough to deserve to go on the trip. And I hear that from so many consultants. And you guys, you are doing enough, so fill out the application. But for me, I've been the vice president of a nonprofit in my community for about 8 years now. And we deal with childhood cancer. And honestly, I'm going to say that's all I was doing at that time, and I didn't know if it was enough, but it was, and continues to still be. So from that trip, now I'm doing a lot more because it was so inspiring.
That's wonderful. Well, it certainly is enough. Keep up the good work. And what about you, Mary? What were some of the things that you were doing, that you were putting in the application that obviously made it stand out?
So I am on the board of something called Invest in Youth, and they're volunteers in the Seattle Public Schools, 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders who are maybe falling through the cracks or don't have help at home. So it's 1 hour, once a week, one-on-one. And even more than the homework help, it's that somebody shows up once a week for them, same person, who's not related, not being paid, just for them. So.
And you talked about that story. And
I did.
And I love share service. Because we were talking about, there's the 3 S's, right, that you have to complete. There's share, there's serve, obviously, that you've covered, and there's support with a donation, which many consultants are very generous donors. But what about the share piece? What did you do for that? What is it?
Well, the share piece would be making a donation to things that mean something to you. Also, I think doing things together with your team or with your community. And I was in something called National Charity League, and also involved, that's a mother-daughter organization.
Okay, excellent. And we're also looking for you to raise awareness, right, about the foundation through the share and the share action. And you can do that through Go Naked Day. Have any of you guys participated in that?
Absolutely.
Of course. So that's a great opportunity to raise awareness and tick that box on the share. And Tara, what about you? I know you're really active in your community. What are some of the things that you were able to incorporate into that application?
So for me, I focused on just 2 of the main things that I was working on last year. So one was I was chair of our Uptown Waterloo Jazz Festival in Waterloo. A little shout out for that. And that actually runs year round. So it's a full day weekend. It's the largest free jazz festival in Ontario anyways. And a lot of planning goes on to do that. And then I actually also put on there something that I was also involved in last year, which was a fundraiser for human trafficking. We actually had 11 counts of it in my little city.
Wow.
I say little city, but there's, like 300,000 people in that city. But it feels like it's a smaller city, so it's not one of the problems that we expected to have. So raising awareness for that, raising funding for that, because honestly, nobody wants that. So those are the things that I focused on.
And so, like I said earlier, we've had a lot of consultants come and ask, how do I become a change maker? How do I get involved? And I go through the process. But what would you say to somebody who's just kind of thinking about it, putting their toe in the water, and like you said, doubting that it's maybe what I'm doing is not enough?
It's like this business. I think you just listen for the opportunity of where can we help in our community and what can we do. It's amazing when you just open your mind to listening, you realize how many people around you need help. So I would just encourage people to just listen and ask the conversations. For instance, when my daughter has a friend who's homeless, I didn't know what to do, to be honest with you. We live in a community that's pretty small and pretty fortunate. So I picked up the phone, I called the principal, and then I called the school counselor, and then I called the food bank and said, help me, what do I do? So I think listen for opportunities and ask questions.
That's right. What about you, Mary? I'm just thinking about it. Help me get over the edge.
Yeah, well, I think the toolkit's going to be very helpful. I think for people to download that, and I think that will help them sort of narrow down maybe what areas they have or what skills they have that they could share with other people. And I would also say just jump in and apply. And like Marissa said, absolutely, anything is something, those small steps, like our speaker said today. Just get in doing the small steps and the big stuff takes care of itself.
So count down, right?
Yes.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, apply.
Yes.
And I want to say, if you apply and you're not selected, remember I said it was about 300 applicants last year and 50 people were selected. And those applicants were all pretty darn amazing. It was a difficult thing to do. And so what I'd say is apply again. Did any of you apply more than once?
I have a story, if that's okay. So I'm on the Voices of the Field PFC committee, and we had the pleasure, I'm not sure if you know this, of selecting the corporate people that went on the trip. So we got to watch all their videos and pick and rate them. So you guys can't imagine how many corporate people we told no that they couldn't go on the trip. But it was really hard because they were all so good that we maybe spent twice the amount of time picking them. But of course, they're going to come back and reapply. So I think it's really important, right? It's like this business. It was just not now. Timing wasn't right. It wasn't in forever.
Yeah, I love that. It wasn't enough forever. Don't give up. Keep at it. You do reapply the next year, and you'll receive twice. And we're like, hey, this person really wants to get there. Okay, fine. And what about you, Tara? What is your sort of note of inspiration? How do you kind of push people over the edge? What would you say to your teammates, for example?
I always just say stronger together, right? I mean, that's what this organization is about. So if it's overwhelming to you to get started, do it as a team building activity. You can grab a couple of your friends, you all have different strengths, and together you can definitely make a big difference in the community.
Speaking of team building, I think that's a really great point. One of the things that I noticed, and I'll ask you guys to kind of reflect on this, is that when I was in Chicago, I'll be very honest, it was my second week on the job, so it was really like learning by fire, which is amazing and the best way to do it, by the way. And then when I was again with you guys in Ontario, one of the things that really stuck out is the connections that consultants were making, of course, to amazing young people, but also to each other. What kind of impact did those sort of consultant-to-consultant connections have for you guys? Because I do know, I don't know if everyone knows this, but the Changemaker trip is level agnostic. So you could be a legacy circle, or you could be a brand new consultant. And there's also, like you said, employees on the trip. So what were some of those sort of benefits that came out of those consultant connections?
I think one of my favorite things about the trip was I was just one of 2 RFX on the trip. And we had a gal who had never hit EC before in her business because she spends all her time volunteering. And it was so amazing that Organic Fields rewarded her for that. So I love that. But I'm going to give you a tip of what I love so much about the team building. By being thrown into the fire, our new CFO at the time, who's our CFO now, came on the trip. And I had no idea who he was or what his position was when we were chatting. And getting to spend the time to get to know Chris on that level and watching him, he was rocked to his core. His buddy was the captain of the football team, and that boy sobbed when he had to say goodbye to Chris. He sobbed. And it rocked Chris. And just having that moment and seeing that was so special. So of course, he's one of the first people I always look for at convention. And he's my buddy now, right? It's kind of cool being the buddy with the CFO. You can ask fun questions.
That's pretty cool. I'm going to try to do that next time.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing. What about you, Mary? How about those consulting connections?
So we are very close, and I love that. Once we put on our t-shirts, our Oakland Build On t-shirts, everybody was the same. We had consultants up to Premier on ours. Actually, Premier was on your team. And we are all still close. We're on our little Facebook thread and talk and support each other in business, support each other in whatever our things are. And because we were in Oakland, we did have a lot of corporate people. And let me tell you, it's nice to have somebody in sales support. That was the best.
Now we're dueling. Is it sales support connection? Is it CFO? How about you, Tara? I know you made some amazing friends on the trip. Tell us about it.
I did. My roomie ended up being from the other side of the country, and she's sitting right there, front row. I love it. Awesome. So we chat all the time, and actually she doesn't have a lot of her team here with her, so she's joined our team. So she's been coming out to stuff with us and hanging with us, and honestly, it's been phenomenal. I think in that trip you find that there are so many more other people who volunteer and who are interested in volunteering and building that even further forward. So it was amazing. I know we've talked about doing some things together outside of what we had done to get there. So it was phenomenal.
That's great. I love that. I mean, even for me and the consultants that I met in Chicago, I'm friends with some of them on the Facebook. It's kind of fun. And they got together and did the service project over here, sorting the beads. So I see those connections, and I can tell that they're really lasting. And I feel that that really does give something back to all of you, and it certainly gives something back to the business. You know, we really at the foundation are at the core of making sure that Rodan and Fields lives out its value of do good. And so it's wonderful that you're all here representing that in reality and coming to life. So I want to thank you all so much for joining us today and taking the time and for serving with the Prescription for Change Foundation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank all of you for joining us. And we are going to be over here. We have some change makers like Carrie, so if you have additional questions, please ask us. We definitely want to support you in this journey. Enjoy the rest of the convention and have a wonderful masquerade ball.
Thank you.